honestly no problems. I've got fresh paint in here, so I can get quite a flow of colour going quite quickly. But when you've got cold paint, you know, hard paint, dry paint, then give it a good spray before, about half an hour before you want to use it, and that'll just make it moist and get it going, and that's always a good plan. Okay, so I'm going to come in here with just a simple wash of this colour. Now what I did mix was cobalt blue essentially, and some lavender, which I love that colour. Now you've got to be careful where you're going to go with this and how far down you're going to go, because if you're putting a wash down past the subject like this, then you can in theory just go all the way down. But if you've got, as we've got here, we've got a situation where we've got an animal that has got warm colours. I'm just trying to clear out and keep out of that area. There's warm colours essentially. So if I come over here with a cool colour, and then I try and put those warm colours in later on, then I could come unstuck, because the blue cooler values will ultimately affect all the warm colours that I've tried to put in. A grey colour is a tertiary colour. So you have primaries, red, yellow, blue. You have secondaries, which is purple, orange and green. They can only be made from primaries mixed together. Tertiary colour is any other combination of colour in the world is a tertiary colour. And technically, because those tertiary colours have a bit of yellow, a bit of blue and a bit of red in them, that's the three primaries, doesn't matter what degree, it could be 1%, 10%, 80% or whatever, doesn't matter. But then it becomes technically a grey. So if you think of greys as something a little bit different to just the grey between white and black, but grey as a colour, a devalued, desaturated colour, then that's a grey. little darks, just drawing almost, a little bit of shorthand coming in. We're drawing the shapes, just tapping a little bit of colour in there. And up through here under the belly, it's a lot darker, a lot richer. So this is now where we're, it's like oil painting. You go so far and you start building all your lovely layers up. And eventually you have to stop that and start honing in on the final details. I thought I'd misdrawn that leg. I don't think I have. I'll leave that alone for a minute now. I'm just going to sit back, let that dry up a little bit. And we're going to work on the head and the horn and just see where we're going to take that. So I'm going to come in with some ultramarine blue, and I'm just going to come in first and foremost on these horns. And this is when you can add things that make the water go behind the animal. So you can bring it up there and bring it out through there, and it just makes it look correct. And then come back in with a little bit more dark. So there's a lot of grass on here, but there's also a lot of dirt, so I'm not going to worry about the grass.
And it looks good, almost as sand.
Yeah, but a lot of it is just sort of dirt and sand, and I mean there is grass depending on what point of the year you're there, but these fellas will eat it so close you barely see it. There'll be one last job to do to the antelope in a moment. I'm being very random and quite carefree about this part of it. Just leave that alone to settle down and do what it wants. I'm going to bring a little bit of that stronger red this side just to give it a balance. Okay, so the last thing I need to do, now this is pretty much all dry through here, is if you look carefully, and I'm going to clean the palette for it. I want no contamination on this one. I use a little bit of ultramarine violet. You can use ultramarine quite happily too. In fact, I'll probably go with a little bit more ultramarine than anything else. Quite a thin mix. And then through here, roughly to about there, there's just this little shadow underneath, and that will anchor that animal to the water, to terra firma. Subtly disappears about there. The strongest where it's nearest its source. I'm going to bring a little bit of dark in a minute when that's dry into that area there. Just come in here with a little bit of white and just tap it in. Done. Sorted, I think. Signed, sorted, finished.